Hello everyone. Okay. Welcome everyone. Today is Sunday, as usually, as I promised to you and to myself as well. We are streaming the game today. So make yourself coffee, tea, whatever. I already had one coffee, so I think for me that's enough for 8 p.m. So during today's stream, what we're gonna do? Welcome everyone, welcome everyone. QQ, hello. Nice stream and evening. Thank you, you too. Yeah, I hope we will have nice evening. By the way, this is a free t-shirt. Yeah, I'm making use of Microsoft as much as I can for participation in hackathon. We usually have internal hackathons. This is pretty interesting story because these hackathons are designed pretty much for improving internal tools, because yeah, as pretty much all developers, we also had a lot of problems with the internal tools, usage pains and stuff like that. And yeah, these internal hackathons, they are conducted, I don't know, maybe once per 2, 3, 4 months, something like that. And during this hackathon, you can basically skip all your working activities except on call, for sure, and basically do whatever idea you want to ease the life of yourself, your team, your org, Microsoft in general. Or there is a trick, there is a cheat code that you might use. Actually, it is stated officially or not officially, I don't really remember, that you can do your learning, so you can learn some stuff that can possibly be useful in your daily activities in your project. So basically you can learn whatever you want and justify it as your hackathon time. You don't need to present anything and stuff like that. So this is what I'm usually do. But yeah, sometime I participated as well. I don't even know what are the prizes and stuff like that. So yes, what is the agenda for today's? Basically Q&A. I gathered some of the questions, not that many, but still some questions from videos, from the Telegram channel, private messages, stuff like that. We're gonna answer some of them. Then we're gonna do just 2 LeetCode problems. If there are any more questions, we're gonna also discuss whatever you want, guys. And then yeah, we're gonna finish, well, not finish, but proceed with our rate limiter that we designed. This is the system design that we did a couple of streams back then. And yeah, we already implemented in memory rate limiting. And today we're gonna do Redis based solution, which gonna be pretty much as a North Star of rate limiter, of our rate limiter. And we will see about the timing, about how would I feel, but I already have kind of prepared the scalable solution and load testing for it. So we're gonna spin a couple of containers in the Docker and show how memory goes down in case we are using load balancer and multiple instances, how our Redis performs and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. Let's start, because we are already a bit late. So yeah, lately I posted the video one day as software engineer at Microsoft that got pretty much a big amount of view comparing to my other videos, for sure, and there are some of the questions from them. So usually when I'm returning back home, so usually my typical day starts like 10:25, 10:20 before the daily stand-up, which is 10:30. Then I'm working a bit from home, going to the office around like 12, 1 p.m. Then meeting, impact. If it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm gonna go gym from probably 6 to 8 or something, sauna and stuff like that. Then I'm returning back to office, impact a bit more, like maybe 1-2 hours. So usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's like 9-10 p.m. I'm going back home. For Tuesday and Thursday, depends, right? But usually also like 8, 9, 10. Yeah, but I'm going to bed like 2-3 usually, which I actually like. So how many hours do you put in the work? Actually at Microsoft it does not really matter how many hours do you put at work. The only thing that matters at Microsoft is how much impact do you do. Yeah, this magical word impact. This is very important because if you don't do any impact at all, people, managers would start asking questions. Even if you're spending 12 hours online in a meeting and stuff like that. But even if you're working 3 hours per day, but there are like results of your work, yeah, everything will be all right. So personally, I'm working usually like, it depends, but sometimes like 4 or 5 hours, sometimes 10, 12 hours. Depends on the mood, on the urgency of features, and also we should include on call. By the way, now I'm on call, and every single moment I can be called, and stream will be over exactly that same second. Unfortunately, I cannot live stream how do I resolve the on-call incident. Or sorry, help me resolve it. I'm back up actually, but anyway. So that's basically it. How hard is to get employed at Microsoft? Basically not that hard. I would say Microsoft has one of the easiest interview procedures at all. Comparing to other big tech companies, especially these funks and blah blah blah. So I have only one company to compare with. It was Amazon, and I would say the interview process was a bit worse for me, and in general worse personally, because there were 5 rounds, and Amazon interview focuses like a lot on these behavioral questions, these 12 or I don't even remember how many leadership principles. This was fucking awful because these guys, they saw my resume. So back then it was 2021, yeah, 2021 I think, and I started my career 2018. So I had like 2-3 years of experience in some outsourced bullshit companies. Well, what can I like? I don't even have like the showcases for their questions even to like half of the principles, but they went like 12 of them a couple of times, and there was 5th single round designed only for the leadership principles. To be honest, very bad experience. Very bad experience. And also algorithms interview was much harder at Amazon, I would say. Well, because the problems in general were harder to me. I had it recorded. Nowadays I would probably solve them, but back then I had like how many 2 months of LeetCode experience back then, and it was not really enough, or maybe even 1 month of LeetCode. So yeah, Amazon, basically these Irish guys, they like, yeah, it was bad. It was bad, but I had very pleasant system design experience. There was some architect at Amazon that was architecting like 12 years at IBM and like a couple of years already at Amazon. So pretty experienced guy, and I liked the system design interview. Basically, I think we already did this system design back then, one of our previous streams, I would say. And comparing to Amazon, Microsoft interview was like, I don't know, kindergarten, I don't know. The system design was some joke. It was like some strange question. I would not reveal it, but it was some real question that most probably the interviewer had back then during his work. So it was pretty strange. There was not that many actually system design challenges to design this system, so it was quite easy. For the algorithms, I think I got just one of the medium LeetCode problems, these anagrams. Now you can actually check it. Code anagrams. It was like group anagrams, or yeah, most probably this one. And it was it was this one. So it was actually I solved this problem before, right? But maybe 1 year ago, 2 years ago, by the time I've been to Microsoft interview. And then I checked, and yes, this is legit this question. and the output and input, all the question was just copy pasted, like interviewer didn't even like, tweaked it a bit. So yeah, so this one is pretty easy problem. You just need to sort the words and that's it. So yeah, comparing to Amazon, it was much better. And OP question was quite interesting at Microsoft, because I got some questions. So there was some situation with the interviewers that one of the interviewers was not able to join. He was substituted by some other guy who is not even in the Prague, because all other interviewers I later met personally. But this one exactly interviewer who was substituting, he was not from the Prague office, I guess. And he got me the question, like he looked at my resume. Okay, Andrei, okay. I see you're a backend developer. That's good. That's actually good. Because of this, today we're gonna design and implement OP question related to client application. And I actually needed to implement. I needed to implement the client-side controls from different inputs like keyboard, mouse, voice, whatever, that can move through the different input controls on the client application. It was pretty interesting, pretty cool, I would say. Yeah, and some behavioral questions, they were also kind of joke, because I literally had all the situations, the real situations, not the ones I came up, because I needed to answer at least something. So yeah, Microsoft interview was kind of joke. Yeah, and I got a junior position later on. What I would suggest to do in case you want to pass to some FANG, because back then in all outsourced companies in Ukraine that I've been working on, the interview process is quite different. In outsourced companies, usually what they ask you is just a bunch of .NET databases, maybe Docker network related problems that are kind of knowledge-based problems. So you either know them because you learned before, or you don't know them and you fail this question and you got like 1 minus point for the interviewer. So questions like how GC operates under hood, what is async await in the C#, what is the async state machine, how it works, like what is the difference between functions and stored procedure and database, what are indexes, like how indexes works, like what, like this bit-rich stuff, and these kind of questions, right? So for outsource interview, I just learned them all pretty much, and that's why you can get like crazy positions, like senior positions in any outsourced company pretty much, because everybody's asking these kind of stupid questions. You can basically learn them and answer. For big tech, the process is quite different. Usually you have interview loop, right? You have usually 3 technical rounds. First one should be algorithms, so you are getting some kind of LeetCode problem. Then most probably you would have some OP problem that would check how you overall thinking in terms of classes and entities in your mind. Then you will have for sure system design, even if you're junior, trainee, doesn't matter. Like for system design, if you're like junior, it's just different expectations. If you're like internship or you're applying for junior position, interviewer would expect you to draw like 2 rectangles, client server, it will be kind of already good enough. If you applying for a middle senior, for sure you would be required to fulfill the like million of requirements, so should be scalable, reliable, some replication, some partitioning, horizontal scaling, blah blah blah, then follow-ups, trade-offs between the solutions for system design and stuff like that. This is basically for interview. So to pass to any big tech, you just need to do first a lot of LeetCode, second a lot of system design. Just learn there are common patterns and strategies which you are using always. For example, you need reliability, you use replication. You need high amount of requests, you do partitioning. Like data storages, you are replicating, like master, follower, leaderless, or master for like computes. Try to use stateless and replicate as much as you want. This kind of stuff. Good. So yeah, let's move on. I think it took too much time. So how strong should be the resume? Actually, I don't know. I never spoke with any recruiter inside Microsoft. I don't even know whether we have recruiters in this office, to be honest. But I can say for myself, and me personally, when I was submitting my resume like to applying for Microsoft, it was COVID time, so I was lucky, first of all, because back then big tech, they were hiring as crazy, so recruiters actually messaged me. I didn't apply by myself. So in my resume I had actually, I think I can show you just my LinkedIn back then, what I had. And I think you would measure, is it strong or not? I'm not the one who can say it, but I would say it was not that strong. Can I show this? I think I can show this, yes. So, yeah, just showing my LinkedIn. So back then, before the Microsoft, these are the 3 positions I had before. So I was junior at some like pretty much no-name company before for 1.5 years. Then I got middle title. I wasn't middle, I just got middle title. Then I got senior title as well in another big outsourced companies because they have bullshit interview process. And with these 3 positions, I just applied to Microsoft, and that's how it was. I don't know whether it's good, whether it's not. I only remember the only single advice that I really followed during the preparing my resume was like, put it in 1 page. And back then it was easy to put it in 1 page, basically. I didn't do anything like crazy. That's it. So, yeah, my team is in charge of 1 button in Teams. Yeah, so in Teams application, yeah, now I will tell you what am I doing at Microsoft. First, I was in charge of Microsoft Dynamics. Yeah, my original position was this, yeah, is it this one? Okay, Dynamics Market. Oh, yeah, this one. Let me show you. I cannot even find it like in internet, but customer insights, what other products I see. Okay, let me search with you. So it was Dynamics 365. It has multiple sub products, kinda. One of them, for example, customer insights, and I was working on this project. I think I cannot say a bunch of words I actually want to say right now. So yeah, this was my first project. Then I decided for a big reason to change, and now I'm working at Presence Service. So this is a backend that fulfills, let me show you. Teams. So Teams, yes. Where is the button? Where is the button? Okay, actually this is quite good picture. So yeah, I'm gonna reveal what I'm working on at Microsoft right now. So this is, I just screenshot some random picture on the internet from the Google Images, so it's not my Teams, just in case. So what my service is working on is basically, it's a backend for this yellow button, this green button, this gray button, so presence button that tells you whether you're online, away, out of office. Yeah, and you would be surprised, it's a pretty big project and big team. And I was pretty happy that I changed. Now I'm very happy in my team. So if you want to apply somewhere at Microsoft to Prague and you got to some messaging team, something related to backend on Teams, it's good choice. Maybe, yeah, it's pretty much good choice. So yeah, this is regarding the question, my team is in charge of one button. Yeah, it's one button, but you cannot even imagine how complicated it is when it's high load, a lot of clients, because our client not only Teams, our client is also Skype. So if you go to Skype web, web.skype.com, you go to network tab and you search for keyword presence. I will show you also one of the example of the request to not show you some info that you should not know actually. Yeah, so if you see this request comes to my service, not mine, but my team's presence service, the service we maintain. So yeah, for example, one of our clients is the Skype. And yeah, it's pretty complicated in this scale. Good. How many laptops do I have? This was the question because during the video I changed them multiple times and they are different. So actually I have quite a large amount of laptops. Personally, Microsoft provides you with 2 laptops usually. First laptop is for just your working machine where you're like doing features and stuff like that. After that, you got another machine that is specifically for incident management and this kind of stuff. Then I have one personal Windows machine. I'm streaming on it right now. I have Mac, and yeah, and that's it. And before I had another Mac that I already gave to another person. Good. So yeah, I think let's just solve a bit of LeetCode problems. I think these questions we kinda already answered, and then we would proceed to these 2 questions. So yeah, let's start with a bit easier one. Today we're gonna solve these 2 problems. You can already try to solve it. This one is actually easy problem. So it is number of recent calls. So we should implement data structure called recent counter, and it should have method ping, which works as the following. So we are getting some value t as a parameter. T represents number of seconds, of number of milliseconds, number of some unit of time. And what we should do, we should return how many these calls were done during the last 3000 milliseconds, seconds, or whatever it's this unit. Let's call it seconds. So this function will be called multiple times. We don't know the pattern, but we should count all the calls in time range of 3000 seconds. If the call, or many calls, were done before this range, we should not count them and we should not include them into our length. So yeah, this is actually my old implementation using JS, but this is very bad, so we're not gonna do it. We're gonna do C# today, and today's problems, they will be mainly using the .NET. It was actually my failure because I was supposed to clean them before, so you don't see actually the answer, but now you see the answer. You saw them. Anyway, it's not hard problem and we're gonna solve it pretty much easy. So first of all, let's break it a bit. And where is my chat? Here is my chat. So yeah, it adds new request at the time t, and we should include in a range. And pretty much we should take a look into the example straight away. So we create this recent counter. We are calling ping with t equals to 1, then ping with 100, 3001, 3002. So what should we return? First request, we just started our kind of window, and it's in range of 3000. So now minus 3000 will be minus 3000 time. So this is our range, and our one is kind of in the range now. Then we got ping at time 100. So 100 minus 3000 would be minus 2900, and 1 and 100 are both in this range. We'll continue doing like that, and once we are yes, so these are included because it's inclusive range, inclusive window. Once we are on 3002, so 3002 minus 3000 would be 2. So our range is 2 and 3002. So 1 is not in this range anymore, so we should not include it as an answer, and we include just 3 numbers, or sorry, lengths of 3, because this number is not here. So okay, there is one question from the Twitch. Hello Andrea, I've got a really stupid question, I know, but I want to choose a new programming language to learn, cause as a beginner I learned C for past 4 months and now want to switch to a language for my first pass. What could you recommend? Thanks in advance. So basically, what can I recommend in choosing the language is pretty much one of the most common questions. It depends what you want to do, and it depends what you would like to do. Because if you choose, for example, JavaScript, I like JavaScript. I'm a backend person still. But if you choose JavaScript, you have kind of already cut area where you can work, because JS is mostly used on front end. It is also used in backend nowadays. Can even be used with some AI shit. But mostly, I would not suggest you to learn JS if you want to work, for example, on AI, or if you would like to work on embedded systems. So 2 questions. First, what is your goal? Would you like to make more money and to start working as fast as possible? Or you want to work on specific area like AI, embedded systems, web development, game development? So based on these 2 questions, like, I can answer very differently. I didn't personally choose C#. Back then in 2016-17, I was at school back then, and I tried PHP because I thought this is the quickest way to make a website. It was kind of true back then. And then I just got 2 courses for my first company that was conducting these free courses, and they were using C#, so I was using C#, right? And I got the job and I continued using C#, and now I pretty much believe that C# one of the best backend languages for complex backend systems, I would say. Better than Java. This is my personal opinion. Well, yes, so if you want to have some quick ramp up, I would suggest maybe JS, because it's not that complicated. And to be a front-end or back-end, it's not a big effort to pass the interview. If you want to go for AI, well, it's Python, but I would say you need to know Math more than Python. So just learn Math. If it's game development, continue with the C, C++. Or maybe you could switch to C# and go with Unity. If you want to do mobile, what is mobile? Mobile can be done in JS. Mobile can be done with this new thing. I don't even remember what is the name. So you can do native mobile with Java, and yeah, there is Java and there is something else that is running on JVM. Doesn't matter. So that's for mobile. For embedded systems, just continue with C, C++. You should be good. For backend, well, you can use pretty much everything. But if you want to feel comfortable use C#. Don't use Java. Yeah, this another thing is Kotlin. Yeah, Kotlin can be a way. Don't use Java. Better C#, but still backend can be written in Python, Node.js, whatever you want. But I was writing backend using Python. This was the most painful experience ever. Don't ever write your backend on Python. Unfortunately, we had no choice because all AI libraries are in Python. So you don't have choice. If you are doing AI startup, you're gonna do it in Python. Or you have so much money that you can afford yourself to not do this. I hope I answered your question. So now, let's focus on the question. So we are getting pinged every time, and we need to return the lengths of all pings that happened in the range of last 3000 time units. First thing that we should store all of the pings. It means that once this function hits, we should store this t somewhere. Another question, how are we going to conclude that 3000 time points ago, like this specific or this number of specific pings happened? Well, we can use basic array because we kind of guaranteed that this ping will be strictly larger of t from previous values, so it's monotonically increasing, which is in reality usually not true due to time skews, but anyway. It should be monotonically increasing, so we can just maintain the array and add these pings to the array, and then traverse the array from the head, from the most recent values up to the most oldest values, and at some point when they are older than 3000 points ago, we just stop and return whatever we already traversed, the count of the number of items. But this leads us to the one problem, because yeah, in reality you can be pinged continuously through the months, right, if it's some real production service, right? So in reality you would exhaust your memory because your array would be continuously increasing. So it would be great that whenever we're adding new values, we're returning these lengths. If we have some outdated values that we should not count, so we drop it. And basically, if you learn data structures a bit, this is exactly the declaration of queue, because in the queue you're adding your item one by one, and then the queue operates in a way that first in, first out. So, and these operations in good queue, they are like constant. So it means that we can basically add our items to the queue and discard whatever is outside of our boundary in constant time. And with this one, we will be preserving our queue in the size of 3000 time units. So we will have only pings with 3000 time units in it. Less talking, let's basically implement it. So I would write as a, this is C#, right? We are not doing JS because JS doesn't have good native data structure support. For example, it doesn't have queue, it doesn't have priority queue, and a bunch of other stuff. That's why.NET. But now you will see why I don't choose .NET usually when I'm working and solving questions on the LeetCode. So let's initialize our queue. I think queue in C# is initialized. Sorry, under hood it works like a circular array. Let's even check it. So C# queue under hood or something like that. I don't know how to implement a queue. We have yeah, this class implements generic queue as a circular array. Exactly. So it has amortized time because whenever it hits the limit of the array, it resizes twice more usually. I think this is the implementation. So it means that most probably we actually want to specify some capacity. So initial array would not be like 2 items, because otherwise it will be like doubling a lot of times, which you want to emit, but this is kind of optimization. So let's put some 3000. I think this should be initialization. This is the problem with the C# because you should always go and check the declaration and what method this data structure has, because it does not have any IntelliSense at all inside the LeetCode. So these constructors, therefore, we don't need. Now, every time we are receiving ping, we for sure can say that this ping is inside the range from starting from now back to 3000 points in time in the past. So we're just adding it. Q and Q, I think this is the method. Once we added it, it may be the point when this item that was added previously, the first item, the oldest one, is not in the range. So we're gonna just pop all the items that are not in the range of 3000. How are we gonna do it? So let's say while Q peak does not remove the item, but it just gets its value. So while peak is less than, and now the tricky part, what is our threshold? So let's, for example, say we got 3002 as a T. What values should we, at which point we should discard values? So our range is 3000. So 3002, which is now, minus 3000, it's gonna be 2. So our range is from 2 to 3002 inclusively. So starting from now, we are discarding, starting from 1, we are starting discarding numbers. So let's apply specifically this formula T minus 3000. And if our Q item, which in this case, let's say 1, is less than this value, we discard it. So we are doing Q pop, no, there is no pop, there is deq. And then what we are doing, we are returning Q, what is it, length or count? I think it should be count. And that's it. Good, accepted. Let's try to submit and move on. Already quite a lot of time spent on this. Good, problem is solved. Next one. This is the problem that I was asked during one of the previous streams, like, can you solve this? And this is actually a pretty interesting problem. I think it has like 3 or 4 solutions. We're gonna go through every single solution. So let's first understand the problem itself. So this is minimum operations to exceed threshold value. We have 0 index integer array nums and an integer k. You're allowed to perform some operations or nums, where in a single operation you can select 2 smallest integers, x and y, from nums, remove them from this array, perform this operation, and insert this result at any position in the array. We can perform this operation if nums contains at least 2 elements. Yeah, that's for sure, because if it has only 1 element, we can get x, but we don't have y. We should return the minimum number of operations needed so that all elements in the array are greater than or equal to k. Pretty interesting interview question. Let's paste and break down this one. So I have an array which is 2, 11, 10, 1, 3. Good. And I have k 10. What we want to ensure that after some number of times we perform some operation, all numbers in this array are either 10 or more than 10. What operation are we allowed to do? This one. So it means that we are doing we are removing x and y, which are two smallest numbers. So x gonna be minimum number from this array, and y gonna be next minimum number from array. And we are then performing this this operation. Yes, like that. So let's say in this case two minimum numbers is 1 and 2. We are getting minimum is 1. We are multiplying it by 2 and adding y. And in the end, 1 times 2 equals 2, 2 plus 2 equals 4. And we put 4 back at any point, any position in the array. Then we again performing this operation because the minimum numbers here are still like less than 10, because we have like 4, 3, which are less than 10. We are getting 3 and 4. We are getting 3 times 2 plus 4 would be equal 3 times 2, 6, 6 plus 4, 10. We are putting this 10 again here. These items are removed. Now we can state that all the items in the array are less than or equal to k. This is basically what they want us to do in this task. Cool. Now, how are we gonna do it? So the first kind of brute force solution is to so we can just operate on this single array, and we can take the two numbers out of it through smallest numbers, just find them, remove them from the array, perform operation, put it back, exactly what we did. Let's code it. I would actually do the specific function for the popping because it's quite complex, because for the popping min we should first find it and then remove it. So let's first find it. We're stating that we have some default min, save integer, I think this is the one. Now we have min index. Let's find it index, because then we will apply splice, I think, function that removes by index and length. So first we should find the smallest number, and if we have not sorted array, we can do it by O time, big O of n, right? So let's just find the smallest, pretty easy. This one, and then if it's less than min index, so uncomfortable without V motions. And then after that, after this 4, min index is the index of the smallest element, and what we do, we are doing splice min index and length 1. So splice, what it does, and that's why I allow using JS during the LeetCode problems, because I can do this. Let's S1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's test what splice is doing specifically. So let's say we are putting 1 as an index and delete count as 1. This function will update our array, and it will basically drop the element on index 1, and this will be our modification. So this is exactly what we are doing. We're just removing this element from array. This is all when as well, unfortunately, but this is brute force solution first. We're gonna do brute force, then we'll be optimizing, and so on. And this is our pop min. Since we need to count the minimum number of operations, we are doing initializing our count. Then let's apply our formula. So our x is the first pop min number, our y is second pop min. Then we what we are doing. I think we should put it to while, and our while should be, actually what should be our while statement is already in the description. Here it is. So nums contains at least 2 elements, so it means that our nums length should be more than 1. Then it will have 2 elements. We are popping them. Then in case we have that our smallest, in this case it can be one of the tens. In case it's more than or equal to k, we are done. So if x more than or equal to k, we are done. We are breaking our array. But if not, we are calculating new number, which is x times 2 plus y, and we pushing it back. Push to the original array, increasing the count operation, and then in the end we return count. Sorry, just count. Yes, this should be the kind of the brute force solution. It should work, but in reality, oh well, it doesn't work well. Why? It's interesting. So let's check it. While break plus y. So this one is incorrect or what? This one does not return the minimum. Return min. I'm sorry. I think this now should work. Yes, it works, and it should fail on the time limit exceeded because the time complexity here is very bad. How can I ban people on Twitch that are doing advertisement? How can I ban it? This guy. Ban. Okay, username. Disdain full pronouncement. Boom, I did it. Nice. It's very cool time to be an admin, right? Good. So, yeah, it's time limit exceeded. Why? Because, first of all, this is O(n), right? I don't think you would... Oh, no, wait. So nums length. So I don't think we need to explain why this is at least O(n), because we would pretty much try to traverse all the nums. In worst case, we might reach that nums would be 1, but it's a bit even worse. Because why? Let's take a look into our pop min. So this pop min traverses the nums 1 time. Every single time it does traversal, so it's O(n), and splice internally is actually O(n) as well, unfortunately. So these two gives us O2 times n, which is O(n). So this is O(n), and this is O of n as well. And this pushing operation to array in JS, I think it's constant still. So it's n squared, because this one gives us O(n), and every single time while we are iterating, it's O of n as well, again. After every operation, our array decreases in length by 1. But it does not really change anything, because it will be, 2 times less, but still, it's n squared. How can we do better in this case? So this was the brute force solution. Let's now think about it. So your intuition might say you, okay, every single time in this while loop, I need to take two min numbers. And for this, I would need to search minimum 2 times. How I can do it better? Well, what if the array is sorted? Then the first 2 elements are the smallest elements, right? And I can just take every time the 2 smallest elements, perform this operation, and I will be good. Like the pop min would be constant time in this case. But the problem is that we are pushing the new num into array again. And you have basically a couple of choices how you can do it. So let's say our initial array is sorted. Yeah, so let's sort it. This goes here, 3, 10, 11. Let's say this is our array. So yeah, getting 2 minimum numbers are constant operation time. We just getting 2 of them. Or we can sort it, okay, if it's arrays, taking first element and remove it from array, it's not constant operation because we would need to narrow our array from the beginning, and it is, unfortunately, it's not all constant time in a regular situation, so we would need to do it vice versa. Let's assume we sorted array like this. Then we can pop from the end of array, and this operation is actually constant. So we're popping 2 numbers, we are performing operation, 1 times 2 plus 2 equals 4. 4 is our new number, and we are pushing it again to the end because, well, we assume it is the lowest. We definitely cannot push it in the beginning of the array in this case, because we're supposed to have the biggest values. And if we push it to the end of the array, which is sorted, you see this array is not sorted anymore. And if I give you just another example, we can clearly see that after a couple of operations, this array becomes unsorted. What we can do about it, we can actually sort array after each operation. I think natively JS would use some team sort, or let's assume it's merge sort, whatever. But sorting most probably will take you n times log n. And this is actually bad because the complexity will not be actually anyhow better. But let's still implement it. So for pop min, now what we can do, we don't need this pop min anymore actually. We don't need any of this. Let's move on. So first we are sorting our numbers in the descending order. So first larger numbers come first. Then we just proceeding again up until we have at least 2 numbers. Same while that we had before. Now our x is just in the end of the array, our y is in the end of the array, constant time operations. We again checking same thing about the k. We are breaking it, designing new number, pushing it to the array, and since this will break sorting, we need to sort array again. And also increase count and return count in the end. Good. Now let's see whether it works. Maybe not. Yeah, let me actually switch to my Vim because I'm sorry, I cannot do this. I used to Vim motions and I want to. Yeah, now it will be much better, guys, I'm telling you. Good, so it passed. Let's submit. Actually, it will not pass as well because this complexity is even worse. Okay, try work. I hope I pronounced you correctly. You will have to go, but enjoy the stream. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and answers. to Q&A. Good night. Good night. Good night. Yeah, thank you for being on stream. Hope you will join next times as well. Yeah, time limit exceeded even 2 test cases before comparing to previous one. Why? Let's analyze the time complexity. So this and log n. Straight away we can say that this is our minimum. But previously our brute force was n to the power of 2, so n log n is quite better than this. But this one is our n, right? Then 2 pops are constants. We are pushing, this is also constant, but then we have here n times log n. Since this is nested thing in the while, it becomes n times log n. We just move in this part here, and now our worst complexity part in this source code is this one, which is n to the power of 2 times log n, which is even worse than previous solution because previous solution didn't have this log n part. Yeah, but this thing leads us to some conclusion that, yeah, well, maybe sorted array is the key. Now, sorting is the good, but our problem now is this sorting part, right? Because this we made the popping part is a constant, so 2 minimum numbers we are getting they are constant, but when we insert in the number, we want to be better in inserting, because each insert for us is n times log n, which is very bad. Instead of sorting, we can actually try to find the correct position in the array, push it to the array, and then, like, basically, array will be 1 element more, but this is also all-when operation, because it requires shifting, like, worst case, all elements of the array, if it's beginning, for example. So yeah, if it's not sorting, still just pushing element to array in specific index, or sorry, finding the index where we should, actually both finding is O(n) and pushing to some specific index is also O(n). Why? Because let's say I want to add 7. This is my array, it has constant size and it cannot be extended, or like for the shortening it can be, because we can just remove and claim that our length is this one. But if we want to add, we should know that, let's say this is our 0 index, first, second, third, and we want to put our sen here because then it will be sorted. So this should be actually our second index at this point. So for that we need to throw 3 out and put sen here. But 3 should be then a third index. We throw 4 out, we put it here, and then we are putting fourth number here at fourth index. So actually when we insert something to the array, all the right part should be kinda reshuffled, and that's why it's O(n). Let's say I want to push 12. 12 should be on 0 index, it moves, and I'm moving like pretty much everything here. And you can see the pattern basically. Good. So now let's think about how we can insert better. At this point, unfortunately, if you don't know about structure called priority queue, you cannot most probably come up with the better solution, but I will tell you, I know personally priority queue data structure, and I will tell you the solution. So, and what is the priority queue? Priority queue is the data structure that works pretty similar as a queue, but the thing is that it maintains the order. So it's kind of enhanced queue in some sense. It does not pop the elements based on the recency of being added, but it pops the element based on the priority with which it was added. And your priority can be actual nominal value of the number, character, whatever. Usually priority queue, you might say like, how this priority queue is implemented, why is this so cheat-coded data structure and why it is better than just array? Well, because priority queue has the cool complexity guarantees. For example, priority queue has complexity for inserting log n and complexity for dequeuing also log n. Not n as an array, like, and not constant, but something in between. That's why we can use it, and then we will decrease our complexity to the one that it will make the LeetCode test case pass. How this cheating data structure is implemented? It is implemented using quite, actually not quite famous data structure, but data structure that is called heap. So heap is the tree data structure that has the following properties. So let's say you have your tree. I don't want background. So there is min priority queue and max priority queue, and both of, oh sorry, not priority queue, heap. Min heap and max heap. Max heap maintains the maximum element at the root of the tree. Min heap maintains the minimum element at the root of the tree, and the invariant that this tree maintains is actually that all the children of the root are lower than the root itself. So for for min tree they are bigger. So this one should be like 6, 7, but it cannot be like 3 here or 4 or 5 or 6. It cannot, because all the children of the specific node should be bigger than the parent. Or if it's max heap, then all the children should be less than the node. Quite similar to binary search tree, maybe in some sense, but binary search tree tells you that to the right nodes you have always something bigger than the node, and to the left node you always have something less than your node. In this case, you just know that whatever is here, it's bigger than your node, or for the max heap, as I told, it's less. So we don't want to implement our own heap. However, we will do it and stay on this stream to watch it, because in JS, unfortunately, as I told you, we don't have oh yeah, I should have actually dropped it before. Some mistakes during the stream. So in JavaScript, unfortunately, we don't have either priority queue nor heap. So you should implement them on your own if you want to use JavaScript to solve this question, or you should use some another language, for example, our beautiful C#. If you want to use heap for JS, for example, you can implement it on your own, because heap data structure can be implemented using a regular array and index manipulation. I will show you later. But let's now focus on the queue. So I think you remember what we had. So we initialized our count. Now let's move to our Vim motions, because I'm tired of. Yes. Now it's much better. So we are implementing initializing our count. Now, what should we do? We should initialize our priority queue, which should be priority QLM long. I will explain why we are using long here. This is the initialization in C#. In C#, it's like God's language, so you can initialize not only the nominal value you're passing, but also you might have different priority for this value. Can be decided on your own. In our case, the value itself is the priority, so we are just putting long. Now let's fulfill our queue, which is n times log n, because every insertion is log n, and we are doing it n times. So for var num in nums, we are doing q and q. Num. Actually, okay, it knows it's C#, good. Now, we are creating exactly the same while true as we did before with our sorting solution. If it's more than 1 and q peak less than k, it means we should proceed and eliminate numbers because we didn't meet our criteria that all the numbers in array is more than k or equal, more than or equal. And now we're doing exactly the same. So x is our q_deq, which is always the minimum number. Then y is second minimum number. Good. And now we are doing our result. First times 2 plus second. We enqueuing the result back and incrementing our count. Ah, shit. Then we return our count, just like that. Good. Let's check whether it works, and then I will explain the complexity of all the related stuff. What the hell is this? Sorry. For each, we are not JS, we are. And yeah, in .NET, you never have these curly brackets, so it's much more readable actually, in my opinion. But this is code style, see. Yes, so it's not first, it's x, and this is y, according to our formula. And again, yes, so since we're using nominal value, just passing it again. Yes, should be done. Let's submit and evaluate the time complexity and space complexity as well. Good, it passed, but we are quite low, to be honest. Oh, sorry, let's try to submit. Maybe it's, but I don't think. I think this is our complexity, unfortunately. So, we are iterating through all the numbers, and we are putting it to the queue. Traversing all the numbers is n, put into the queue log n. So this one gives us n times log n. Now we are again can in theory traverse all the numbers in this queue, so it's n, this is log n, this is log n, so times 2 times log n. This is log n as well, so plus log n, and that's it. So if we like parse all of this and assume this is big O notation, this plus we just remove, this we remain as it is, and 2 as a constant we also remove, so it's n times log n. So n times log n, n times log n, it's 2 times n times log n. This is our time complexity, big O notation, which is not quite linear, but linear and logarithmic. And for the memory, it's n, because our queue will be not bigger than the number of items. There is another solution which is based not on the queue, but based on some clever thing. So I will explain you in a bit. I think we're gonna do some break, and then yeah, after the break we will solve it even better with much better solution, and complexity will be O(n), so linear. Stay with me. I need to go for 2 minutes to prepare myself tea, because as you can see, this glass is empty. Yes, good. Okay, so see you in 5 minutes basically. Oh, sorry, let me put it this 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah, proficient time manager. Good. Hello again. I'm back. And as you can see, I have a cup of tea. This is black tea from the office, so completely free one, with the piece of lemon, which is also from the office, which is completely free one. I love Microsoft. So, good. Let's get back to our question. So, we solved this question with the priority queue. Now, how you can do better? It's n log n solution, right? How we can do better? I'm switching back to JavaScript because it's better and quicker for me. We will not need any priority queue anymore. Let's consider our example. Let's put it for the... So let's say we sorted the array once. So array is sorted. Now, whenever we are performing some operation, we are taking this 2. 3 times 2 equals 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. But we cannot put 10 in the end of the array, right? According to our previous solution, it will break the invariant. So but we can put it to another array. So let's say we are maintaining another array and we put in 10 here. And now we are again putting, getting 2 smallest elements, but from input array and from our created array. Well, now it will be first we get 4, then we are checking 10 and 7. 7 is less, we take 7. 4 times 2 equals 8. 8 plus 7 equals 15. We are putting 15 to our new array. These are removed. Now we are getting, they will be actually reversed in different order. So this is reversed in this order, and this is reversed in this order. Anyway, now we are getting again 2 smallest elements, which will be this 10 and this 10. It will be 30. 10 times 2, 20. 20 plus 10, 30. We are putting again 30 in the end of this array. And again, we are taking 2 smallest numbers, which is 11, and in this case, 12 or 15 will be 12. 11 times 2 plus 15, or how many? 11 and 12, sorry. Plus 12, 34. Putting 34 here. I will tell you now, this is pretty interesting why is that happening, but once we are done with our input array, we will do formal proof later, but we can guarantee that this array will be always sorted. Whenever we are doing 2 elements, we are getting 2 elements from this array and doing operation, we for sure can say that result will be the largest possible value among all of the values in this array. So we can prove it later, but now we're gonna just do algo and implement it and prove it by just empirically through the LeetCode. So 60 is more than 34, and let's say our k is, I don't know, 40. We are getting 2 of these. 34 times 2 plus 60, 128. So it will be 128. We are done. Oh, it's not Control Z anymore. But okay. Anyway, with this naive approach, I was thinking about it, I implemented it, and just give it a try. I just gave it a try and it worked. Somehow, suddenly it worked. Later on, I will do the formal proof over this. It's quite interesting, because the interesting part, which was confusing me, that okay, if our initial array is sorted, so let's again try to sort it. So it's 2, 11, 10, 1, 3. So our initial array is this one, and if, for example, we sort it, right, when we will be performing this formula over the array, we cannot guarantee that newly like the result value, so for example 2 and 1, it will be 1 times 2 plus 2 equals 4. We cannot guarantee that 4 will go always like on top of the array, like as the largest value. But once we got the array here, this array that we are maintaining on our own, we can guarantee it. And you can try to break it as you want, but actually that's true, and we will do formal proof later. So for example, we are putting it here 4, these two elements are done. Then we take smaller from these two, 3, smaller from these two, 4. We are going 3 times 2 plus 4 equal 10. We are putting 10 here. These are done. Oh, sorry. 10 and 10, we're gonna do 30. We are done. And 30 and 11, this is pretty simple case. So yeah, actually it will be over at this point already, because it will be every element in these two arrays will be either bigger or equal to k. So let's just implement it. So we have let's name it array, doesn't matter much. First we are sorting our guys here, because and it will be n log n, but only once. So this is a and b minus a. We are sorting in descending order, because this way we can pop minimum value in constant time instead of taking from the beginning of the array and shifting every time, which will take us O1. So now these guys are done. We are getting again our while true length plus array length more than or equal to, because now we're gonna take two minimum values from both of these arrays, so we should just say it's more bigger or equal to 2 or just bigger than 1. Now we are doing exactly the same thing, but let's implement our why am I doing here? I should do it in here. Exactly. So our function pop min now gonna look like this. So let's think. We should take the minimum from nums and from our array. So first, easy cases. If one of them is empty, we are taking from another one. Pretty simple. So if our array length equals 0, we just return nums pop. Why? Because nums are already sorted. Another case, if our nums lengths are 0, which means we already process all the values and push them to our array, we return our array shift. Shift, why shift? Unfortunately, it will take O1 kinda, but we are putting the result of the operation always in the end of the array, so using push operation like that. So it means if we want to get the minimum, we should take the first element, which is shift. In this case, it's descending order, it's just the last element. So yeah, where am I? Yes, not here, yes. So it's shift, good, and then we just return if nums, like in all other case, just return if both of them have some value, just return the smallest number out of these two. How we can do it? In num length minus 1, the last element here is less than array 0, then nums pop, otherwise array shift. That's it. That's it. This function will give us the smallest out of two arrays. The other operations are kind of the same. We again popping everything here I think we can do if x more than or equal k. We can break straight away. Right. Then we are popping y. And here at this point plus y. But again, we are putting our number to the resulting array always. So we are putting it to here, push new num, exactly, and then count plus plus. In the end, we are returning count, right? Oh shit! Return count. Exactly. Let's try this out and then analyze the complexity. Okay, error of course, because we didn't initialize count, I assume. Oh, it works. Yeah. Now this is how we perform. Good. There can be a bunch of optimization actually. A bunch of optimization, but for example, instead of shifting here, you can instead maintain the index and just take the index. So yeah, let me explain here. So let's say here you have like, I don't know, some 60, 80. So instead of shifting the element, so basically removing the first element which takes you n, you can maintain the index here, the specific index for your array. And once you took element 10, you just move index here. You know for sure that you will be working always with these elements, because if you have new value, you push it like to the end. If it's all element, you're using index and move it forward. So this is one of the optimizations. So let's assume we already did it. I don't want to spend any more time here. So let's assume that this one is not O1, which is in reality it is, and it is O1. So with this one, we can assume that this is O1. We know for sure that this array is sorted. This input is sorted as well. So it's O1. Now, this sorting would take us n log n, but only once in the beginning. Then it will not be like this. Then each pop min takes us O1 and push into the array O1. So basically this whole iteration is constant time. And we will do this iteration n divided by 2. Why n divided by 2? Because every time we are in single iteration, we are taking 2 elements and leaving 1 element. So it will be 1 less every iteration, and in the end it will be n divided by 2. Yes, so basically, unfortunately, since this one is n times log n, our worst case is still n log n. But now this one is O1 only. That's why most probably it will be performing even better, especially if we do this one of constant instead of O1. It will be performing better than our previous solution using priority queue, for example. Now, the kind of formal proof, I will not do like exact formal proof that I was doing before, but let's just assume that it is working. So we have input array, we have our array, the result array, I would say, result array, yes. So let's kind of formally prove, and you will at least see why it should work. So our formula is z equals x times 2 plus y. We for sure know that z is bigger than x and z bigger than y. This we know for sure. Now let's move through the example. Oh, sorry, most probably you don't see it. Do you? Yeah, okay. So now formal proof. Let's get this example. 11, 4, 10. it was 3, I think, and let's say we have like some 7. And let's, for the sake of truth, let's put some crazy number like 1000, for example. And our k, let's assume our k is also 1000. So we are doing it until we have one single element in both of these. So we're taking 2 minimum from these 2 arrays. So we are taking first 3, then minimum from both of 2 is 4. 3 times 2 plus 4, 10. We are putting 10 here. Yes, to this array. These numbers we are done. Then we are taking minimum numbers from these 2. First we are taking 7 because it's minimum between 10 and 7. Then it's 10, 10. For the sake of example, let's say we're taking this 10. We can also take this 10. It does not matter. It will not change anything. You can run it in your head as well. So 7 times 2 plus 10, 24. We are putting 24 here. These 2 are removed. Now again, we are taking 2 minimum from these 2 arrays. So it's going to be 10. And 2 minimum between 11 and 24 is 11. So it's going to be 31. Now we are taking 2 minimum from these 2, it's 24. And between 2 is 31. 24 times 2 plus 31, 79. It's 79. And then in the end we are taking 1000 and like 79 times 2 plus 159. So it will be this one here. Now, we for sure know that we will, like, at some point, our input will be exhausted. So input will be empty array. And we will have some numbers here, right? But it matters which exactly numbers we will have here, but we will have some. Now the confusing part for me was that if I'm using only one single input array, and I will go just with taking, it is sorted, let's say, and I will go with just taking this to perform operation and move it, put it to the end, like here. I for sure know it will not work, because this 10 will not be more than 1000, for sure I know this. So I have one sorted array, I'm taking 2 minimum values, performing result, trying to push it in the end. I know ordering will be broken. But in case of result array, it can be proven, and it is working like that because it was just proved empirically by all test cases in the LeetCode that we had. In case of this response array that is generated by adding the responses from the operations here monotonically, we know that if we are performing operation over this, let's say by this operation we will have some number m, we know that m we can put safely here, and m will be larger than 1000. How we can prove it? Like, this is the confusion, because like for input array something does not work, for response array this thing work somehow. I don't know how. Well, I do know, but I didn't know before. So let's try kind of formally prove it. So let's say we have our x and y, which are 2 minimum numbers from both array res and array input. These guys we are removing, we don't need them anymore for this example, they are just, yeah. So, yeah, let's go to below to our proof. So x is actually, yeah, let's move now to mass language. So we have our set input and our set response res. These are sets, let's say they are sets. And x, okay, we got following from Art 228 2004. Welcome. So our x is minimum from a united, oh sorry, a, it's input. Let's name input as a array. This is our input array, and response is equal to b array. So it's minimum from a united with b. This is our x, and our y is exactly same, but after we removed x. So basically, these are the operations how we're getting x and y. Now, we are having some value z, that is x times 2 plus y. We know for sure that z is more than x, and z is more than y. Now we have the sequence of operations, because we have x1 which is less than or equal to y1. These are, let's say, first minimum numbers. Where am I? Yeah, here. Then we have next x1, x2, and y2, and x3. So whenever we are taking two minimum numbers, perform operations, put it back, we know for sure that next two minimum numbers would be bigger than previous two minimum numbers. This we know for sure. Now, knowing this, we for sure know that the z's would be bigger and monotonically increasing as well, because if x and y are constantly increasing, z's are constantly increasing as well. So z1, which is result of x1 and y1, would be less than, or it will not be even equal. It would be 3. Oh no, it can be equal actually. Okay, it can be equal. z2, z3, and so on. And this one, so on. At some point, our array, response array, B array, let's name it B, will have only z's. And let's say a input would have 0. So we can kind of say that a is equal empty set, like 0. In this case, we're gonna take just two minimum numbers from array B. So this one will still be true, because even if A set united with B set, it's still A united with B set, even if B set is equal 0 or A set equals 0. It's anyway taken from both of them, right? So the thing is that at some point we don't have x and y, in the sense that our input is over, and we are taking x and y from our z's, which are monotonically increasing all this time. And we sure that that's the case. That you remember previously that our z's are monotonically increasing because all previous x and y's, they were less than current x and y. And current x and y would be less than next x and y. And since we are over with x and y, we can for sure say that z1 and z2, since our previous x1 and y1, which are from array A, let's assume they are from array A. If they are from array A, they produce some Zn. Since they are from array A, it means that all the Z's that are in array Rs, which is array B, it means that these guys are bigger than these guys. Say this one is from array B. And this operation over x1, y1 produces Zn, which is the last element in this response that we're just pushing on top. We know that it is more than all Zn minus some constant. And in this case, what happens that whenever we're done with this element and we pushed Zn here, we know that when we take x1, which is z1, and y1, which is z2, that we are putting just two minimum elements from our B array, because A array is completely empty now. We know that the produced Zn plus 1 should be more than Zn previously set it. And this will be continuing for all Zs. So once we are done with array A, it is kinda guaranteed that for array response, since we are inserting the values that are strictly increasing, whenever we are taking two Zs as a minimum values for this formula, for this operation, we for sure know that the response would be bigger than the currently maximum response in the array B. It's kinda maybe hard to grasp at first glance, but yeah, it is what it is. I think we are done with LeetCode. Actually, it took quite a lot of time. No actually comments, questions in the chat as I see, so I'm going to respond to previous ones. Let's go back to our agenda. So on call at Microsoft, the process. So currently I'm already on call, and what is the on-call process? It's quite different for different teams in the Microsoft, but in general, in big tech, on call you can perceive as something that you need to be available 24/7, and you would need to engage and fix stuff that is broken live as quickly as possible with the SLA, because it breaks your services SLA. What is services SLA? Let's say you have product, you have some service, it produces some, like, I don't know, API, it brings money, I don't know, customers that are using it, they rely on it. And let's say Google or Microsoft states that his or like its service would be available 23 hours per day, yes. So it guarantees that maximum time that service will not be available is like 1 hour. And that's why you need on-call people that would jump in and solve the problem on your service which is not available in 1 hour, like optimistically. Otherwise, you as a service would pay to your customer because you didn't meet your SLA agreement, which you signed when you were like selling your goods or your service specifically. So in my team, I personally have on call. We have different shifts. So as I already explained in my Telegram channel, by the way, subscribe, it's in description. We have two on calls. One is primary, who is responsible for service healthiness. Another one who is responsible for the deployments. Since we are there are some products that are worldwide, deployment usually can take months. Now for my safety, I'm saying that I'm not talking about Microsoft or my job, I'm talking in general, just for my safety. So some services have worldwide deployments that can be deployed like 1-2 months because you have like a bunch of regions to be deployed and stuff like that. So this is what the one on-call person can have, and on top of that, this on-call person also helps the primary on-call person who is handling the real incidents, the real service healthy problems. So you can be called also 24/7. For example, right now, since I'm on call, I can get called right now exactly in this second, and I would need to go to call and help resolve the issue until it is resolved. If it's not resolved even in 8 hours, I would need still to be engaged and help. When you're primary, you're fully responsible for the service. So whenever somebody engages you, usually it's not even complained by customers, but by observability metrics, you would need to go and check what happened, and if something's happened, like something going down, like, I don't know, your storage, your, compute, something is not working and you cannot successfully process the requests, you should go and fix it straight away. Personally, we have these shifts like weekly, so 1 week you're kind of on call and doing this thing. For sure, you're paid extra for this with even increased rate. So that's it. This is the process for my case, at least. Now, Skype deprecation. It's interesting stuff because my service was kind of engaged into Skype, so at some point it was onboarded to our service, I mean the Skype client. So if you, as I explained in the beginning of the stream, you can go to Skype web client. Right now it's still alive, I think, so it's web.skype.com. Yeah, web.skype.com is still alive, but it will be deprecated as announced publicly in few months. I think it will be deprecated. Yes, so if you search in the network tab, you can see that my service is kinda engaged in this. So yeah, big deprecation will happen, and what Microsoft suggests you to do in this case, I will tell you. Skype. Yes, so it's my personal, whatever. So yeah, goodbye Skype, hello Teams. This is what they suggest. So Skype will be actually deprecated. Its decision is already made. Some teams knew about it a bit way before. Yeah, so Skype client, this guy that I was using all my childhood to play CS16 and stuff like that, is gonna be deprecated fully, and you would need to use something called free Teams, which is Teams for consumer users instead of Teams for enterprise, for companies, like free Teams basically. It will, yeah, I don't think I can expose anything extra regarding this. So that's it. This is unfortunate. Actually, there are people that are very unhappy with this. Also, I did a big piece of work to make Skype work with presence. So you're available, like green, yellow button. It's kind of fully rely on service that I'm working on. This is unfortunate, but this is what it is. Take the screenshot and screenshot of your messages, screenshot of the UI the last time, because it will be shut down at some point. Yeah, that's it. And I think regarding the agenda, we are implementing our rate limiting. I don't think we have time for OP interview question, and also I didn't find one. So if you have one, paste it somewhere. I think I can review it for sure without any problem. Yes, basically that's it. So now I'm opening my Rider. Rider is not open, okay. And let's continue from the place we stopped previous time. So we did this system design. So actually our current point is that we have some kind of service that can rate limit the specific users by user ID or by IP address, and it is in memory right now. We made it almost kind of thread safe. We don't use any extra storages, so we have the problem if we scale it. Like the user can go to different APIs, and since the rate limiting information is in memory, it is not shared between the services. And if we have rate limiting of 50 per each service per user, it means that this user can go 50 requests here, 50 requests here, 50 requests here, and it will break our rate limiting window actually, because it will have in total 50, 50, 50, and 50, 200 instead of 50. So for this, we are introducing Redis, which is distributed cache, which can stand heavy load. Also, it has a pretty convenient API for fixed window implementation of rate limiting, and this is what we're gonna do right now. So I'm gonna open my rate limiter. By the way, it is already in my GitHub, so you can check. I'm pasting the link in case you're interested. I'm just pasting link to the chats. So yeah, like that and like that. Good. So yeah, previous time I actually have a couple of improvements for this one. Previous time we implemented in-memory rate limiter, which have two functions, request count and request count save. So one way how you can do the thread, like we were talking about thread safety, right? Because if your one API like perform DDoS attack on you, so like thousands of requests per second, you would resolve your user IP by caller ID. Let's say this is caller ID. You would resolve this caller info, and you would try to increment request count, and you can have lost updates if you don't do specific concurrency handling. Because, like, in case of concurrency, like let's say 10,000 requests sent by one user, these 10,000 requests are trying to increase the same request count for this class at the same time, which means it's concurrency update, it's accessing the same memory at the same time by multiple threads, it's bad, and you would have lost updates. So how you can prevent it? Easy preventing in this case would be to just lock it. Lock statement in C# just tells that only one thread at a time can perform this code, and it will give you 100% thread safety, but unfortunately lock statement is pretty heavy on your CPU. So instead of this, you can perform specifically designed CPU operations, which are like atomic increment or atomic decrement, a bunch of operations. They here with interlocked. With this specific CPU operation, it does not lock anything. It's just specific operation. No locking, multiple threads can do it, but this specific instruction makes sure that there will be no lost updates. It's based on hardware, so it's not something software trick. You cannot trick it by using software, it's hardware thing. And yeah, I have a couple of improvements actually for this one that I came up with. So first thing, yes. So first thing, I actually think what we can do better here is to first check the time window, and then let's not count this as one, but let's just reset the counter and make sure the threads, even if they hit this statement, they would go here and increment. This is for better readability. Now, there is one problem in this code. It is not actually thread safe. I will explain why. So let's say two threads, T1 and T2, came to this statement. They both see that it is already time window is over. We need to create new ones. So reset the request counter and reset bucket creation time. What is the problem here? Two threads go into lock statement, and two threads, like let's say it's thread 1 won, and it went get the lock, performed the execution, set bucket creation time as a new, interlock exchange to 0, blah blah blah. It went here, it incremented. Now our request count is 1. It went here, and everything is all right. But then second thread wakes up, it is still in this lock statement. Now lock is free because thread 1 already exited this lock statement. It goes here, it resets counter, and we lost our 1 because now counter becomes 0. However, this request should be counted. How to prevent it? Actually, in the source code of the .NET Core runtime, you could see that there are a bunch of ifs that can be repeating in your code like that, and it seems confusing, like a bug, like some, and as a code smell basically, because why would you need to repeat the same if statement? Well, oh, I'm sorry. Well, exactly because of concurrency issues. If two threads come into the log statement. By the end, one thread already executes this and resets everything. Second thread would list the log and executes this again. However, this if will not be true by that time. So that's why there is that's why there is first if statement that is checked not in a thread safe manner, and this if checked in the log statement, which ensures everything will be good in terms of thread safety. So we are moving this here. Now when T1 increases, as in the scenario I explained here, it will increase 1. So T1 went here, leads got the log, reset the counter, increased by 1. Thread 2 got also here, waits for the log, gets the log, again checks the statement. This statement is not true anymore because thread 1 already updated this variable. It goes here, increments atomically, and request count becomes 2, which now is pretty correct behavior. Now, instead of volatile read, we can actually reuse increment. I didn't know that increment returns the value that will be after increment. So volatile read is not actually about thread safety. Volatile read is about omitting the compiler improvements and omitting that value will be read from the CPU cache instead of actual RAM memory. But this is not the kind of latest value in the thread safe point of view. It's not cached value. So actually, if we go and check what increments does, it returns the incremented value. So instead of volatile read, we can do this. And throw an exception. Another performance, since we want as good latency as possible, instead of exception, we can return Boolean flag or something like that. It will be quicker than exception, but let's for simplicity leave it as it is. Good. I think this is pretty much all the stuff I wanted to do. And also let's not leave our request count beyond the allowed request count, because in this case we always increment. Even if our limit is 10, but it is 15th, like 11th request, we are trying to increment, and we still is more than max allowed, but we are trying to increment, and max allowed can be 10, but actual request count can be 200 by that time. Let's not do it, especially if we can. So if we hit our limit, we can straight away decrement this request like it never happened. It is also atomic operation, so we for sure know thread safety is in place. So this is the improvements I actually did, and we can basically check how it works now. So for that, did we do Docker? No, we didn't Dockerize last time. Okay, I think I can start the app. Where is our load tests? I will turn off actually the Vim right now because it is not convenient for me anymore. Yeah, so this is our test. We are using K6. And this is our API, IP port. Good. This is our service. Perfect. It returns snapshot of requests kinda emulating the production service. And there is rate limit request, which returns either 4 to 9 if it is not allowed to perform anymore, or it returns like 200 and you can go and actually perform your request. Like not you, but rate limiter will do it inside. And if we do a bunch of such requests, we then can see like successful RTs that passed and successful the throttled requests. Every single request passed because in our configuration we have bucket request count 30, which is 30 requests per second. Let's now run our load test that would do 200 requests per second. Yeah, that's it. I wanted actually to modify it a bit. Like this, I mean, to have a bit gradual thing. So yeah, let me do this. Good. Now I just copy pasted from my GitHub. Now we can have gradual ramp up. So let's say we are starting with, I don't know, targets 50, then increasing to, I don't know, 150, and then it's 300 requests per second, then we're decreasing slowly back. Now to run this, we actually need, I think, to go to the directory and case6 run and number of name of the file, I think, right? Yeah. Now it's going. We should see a bunch of the logs here. Oh, we're actually logging something as well. Should remove it. We don't need to. So now we are almost 300 requests per second. Let's check our snapshot. It's done. So 100% success. We were not throttled due to some other things. Let's check, it's 30. Isn't it? Okay. Now let's copy this file, new file. Okay, this is interesting. But it feels like, well, it's very strange. User ID, user 3. Is there user 3? Pretty interesting. I think I understood, or maybe no. Okay. From query caller. Okay, caller. Should be this. Let's restart our app and see, because it should not be like this actually. Snapshot. Good. It's fresh. Now again, running our load tests. We should wait up until it's constant load 300. That's why, fuck. I'm sorry. We're actually incremented it. Yeah, that's why. That's why. We should use only one method. I'm thinking, like, what the hell is going on? And also, do you know why this increment request count is better in terms of latency and performance to this fully lock statement? Because in this case, we are locking only at the moment when we are switching our rate limiting window. But during that window, while it is kind of eligible to go to this rate limiting window, we are not locking anything. We are just using like lightweight synchronization structures, in this case specific CPU instruction which just does not lock anything, in the performance base this one is much better, and like 90% of, like even 99% of the time this code will be executed, not that one. And only by the time we are switching this window and resetting everything, we are using lock, which is like very rarely in this case. Let's run this one again. Good. Now load test should be fine. Our limit is once more 30. Then we will be putting it to the Docker. So while tests are running, I would add PowerShell and remove all the previous things that I was running. I was running some scaling thing with load balancer, Redis, all the cool stuff. We're gonna do it in the next stream. Okay, this one for example. Good. So now let's check our results. Good. Yeah, now it seems like legit. Yes. So as you can see, after especially I modified this thing, like this is the place when our virtual users increasing, so our requests per second increasing. Sometimes we can have this gap for concurrency, yes, but we accept it once it's like constant load. It's always 30, as you can see, the maximum bound, and we're failing all other requests. Yeah, and then when we moving back down, it can be less, but unsuccessful are also less. So it's kind of working, but yeah, there are some still edge cases for threading that some requests might sneak in, or some requests might be rejected unexpectedly. But this is the general problem of fixed window. I will explain you the fixed window rate limiting has this problem. So if we have this time range, and let's say it's by 1 second, and this is 1 second, this is 2 seconds, this is 3 seconds. In case we have 2 requests per second limit, if we have here 2 requests and here 2 requests, let me even draw different color, here 2 requests and here 2 requests, actually our second limit can be like this one right now, and we fail it. But since our fixed window decides which is the window size and where it starts by its own, by the first request, so let's say this one was the first request, it's okay. This request would fail, but this request will give us like 3. So this one is failed. Next window starts, like 2 requests more. And actually, this is inside 1 second window. But since our window in our service is different, we will accept it. So in general, we kind of accept this problem, especially in favor of performance instead of using lock. Now, let's do our Docker compose file, and let's do a Redis implementation. So now in our system design, we don't have load balancer back now. We only have the specific API, which is in memory, maintains this mapping and stuff like that. Now we're gonna put the Redis also, and our rate limiting will not have it in memory, which is prerequisite to be able to scale our rate limiters as much as we can, because they will go to one single database. So our rate limiting and like user about requests sent by one user will be in specifically one storage. Good. I would not spend much of your time, guys, actually, and I already will paste everything I need. What is the, okay, this is the default one. So we are putting it like that. I will explain it a bit later. What about Docker file? Where is our Docker file? sync Docker file, and let's also copy paste it because I think I modified original Docker file from them, and let's move it to the Docker Compose place because this is how I used to be for me. Exactly, now I have our Docker file, our Docker Compose file. So Docker file is pretty much default one from that packs .NET image, creates it, and then we can spin and use this image in our Docker Compose. We don't have to use Docker Compose, but this is how you do stuff conveniently. In our Docker Compose, we have our API specification with some of the rate limiting overrides to our configuration. So this is the configuration that we're gonna override. We also pass in the variables for the Redis. Since this is Docker, it is internal network, we can resolve the services by their name. So Redis is this name, and port is the port that we specify in Docker Compose. This is the default Redis image. They have same network. Pretty easy. What I want to do now is to spin this Docker Compose. So let me go projects. This is gonna be in TMP. This is gonna be rate limiter web. It's our current directory, and let's do Docker Compose. By the way, our Docker doesn't run anything. So Docker Compose up -d -1 build. Failed to solve frontend, failed to read Docker file, no such file or directory. What are you talking about? There is file. You stupid. It cannot parse. What the hell? Let me again copy it. Wait a minute. What is why you can't fail to solve RPC? Okay, if you do just Docker Compose up. Fail to solve this front-end Docker file. Docker fail to create LLB definition. Docker file parse error line 1 unknown instruction from. Are you kidding me? How come this is unknown instruction to you? This is this is unexpected. Let me actually check it with you guys. So we have our TMP, rate limiter, we have our Docker file, Docker Compose YAML, everything we have here. I just don't understand what this bitch wants from me. It should work because I ran it before, right? So it has no other choice except run, but it's not. Okay, it's time to Google it. Let's now do it as a real engineer. Real engineers are doing like that. They go to Stack Overflow straight away. This is how real engineer white space. What the fuck? What? Ah, there are problems in encoding. What? How come? How come? This is interesting. UTF-8. I'm not that good with encodings, but UTF-8. We want UTF-8. Can we just have UTF-8? Just save is encoding UTF-8. Just UTF-8. Thank you. And same one here. Please UTF-8. UTF-8. Yeah, the problem is encoding, so now kinda should work. Much better, much better. We still should to fix it because I have not rate limiter, but rate limiter web everywhere. So I should fix it here. Inside is it? No, inside it's... Don't have API. Yes, we don't have API suffix. Do we have API suffix anywhere? No, yeah, this one should be removed. This is pretty much how I usually move in one Docker file from another Docker file. SRC, rate limiter. Yes, because it's web. Rate limiter. Yeah, this is painful usually. This is not found. What are you talking about? How is this can be not found? Ah, well, yeah, because it's not in SRC. It's straight away, right? So we're gonna do exactly the same. We are mimicking our current folder structure. Good. Fail until you make it. This is the true software approach. Now this bullshit is failing. File does not exist. What do you mean? Interesting. Okay. At which point it does not exist, so work dir at this point. So at this point it does not exist. How come? Maybe because of this. This is always the pain in the ass, to be honest. Okay, usually I'm just like, I gave up, I don't want to waste time. I'm gonna do just this. I'm just asking GPT to do this. That's it. I think he's... Yeah, I think... I'm not quite sure it will work, to be honest, but let's check. Interesting, it's building, but why SRC? Ah, okay, I'm stupid. Yeah, because there was folder SRC, but we didn't include it, so it could not resolve rate limiter web from the folder SRC. Yeah, because it saw only SRC folder. That's the thing. Okay, good. As you can see, our Redis and our API are up, so basically we can check it straight away. How? We can go to our Redis, for example. SH, go to Redis CLI. What? Yes, SH is unknown. Yeah. Now Redis CLI. And we can check our keys. We don't have any keys yet. Now, let's implement our Redis rate limiter instead of this in-memory bullshit that we have. So since we are good guys, we are using interfaces, blah blah blah. We're just gonna implement another one, which is gonna be Redis rate limiter. But let's write it properly. Good. And we're gonna implement our rate limiter interface. Good. And exactly. First we should di our limiter, right? Yeah, we should put it in our dependency injection. So I would use actually right now this approach. You can get it from the configuration as well. Yeah, let's stop this motherfucker. So if it's Redis based configuration, then we're gonna do this one. So we are resolving our Redis, which is Redis connection multi. We also should add the NuGet package. NuGet, yeah, we need to add how it's called. Stack Exchange Redis. This one we need to get. Yes, please. How to install it? I always was installing the NuGet using Visual Studio, but now since I'm transferring and changing to Rider, it's a bit different. Installed seems like. So now it should be connection multiplexer. Yes, we have this one. Connect, and let's put here our Redis. What is the port? Port is this one. Should be gotten from environment variables, but whatever. Now builder services at singleton. We're gonna do iConnection multiplexer. This is kind of factory for our Redis connection, which we're gonna inject in the class and use it. Also, builder services at singleton Redis implementation, or if you don't use Redis implementation, we are putting this one. Exactly. Now back to our implementation. Since we shut up. Since we registered in our dependency injection all the Redis dependencies, now what we can do, we want to have iRedis, or sorry, database, which is actually Redis. No, it's not coming from the DI, I'm sorry. In the DI we are passing our iConnection multiplexer that we just registered, and our DB will be equal to connection multiplexer, get database. Exactly. It should be disposed later, I think, but no, it's not. It should not be disposed. I'm actually surprised. Okay, maybe it's not. Even if it's not, better to us. We have our DB. Now we can perform operations on the Redis. How are we gonna do it? How are we actually gonna do our operations? So, how we can simulate the time window? Our Redis can. It has multiple bunch of interfaces, right? So we have our Redis, boom, Redis. In memory, kinda in memory, not database, cache. It has keys. Its key value in memory cache. So we have key, and it has value. Sorry, it has value. Redis actually supports expiration for the key, so you can set like key 1 equal value 1 for the next 10 seconds. So if you do this, let's say this is timeline, this is second 1, this is second 10, this is 11, this is 5. Here we are setting this with expiration key with 1 and value W, I don't know why. Each time we will be trying to access this value here, 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 or here. Doesn't matter. This value and this key will exist, and we can get this key by just operation get, which is also native operation, and we will get our W back. We can modify this key as well, no problem. But once we hit 10, all the get requests here will not get this key that we just set, because this key has expiration 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, it's done. This is exactly our nature of fixed window rate limiting. So we're gonna refresh, we're gonna treat our rate limiting window as our single key. So we have one user, we have like the time that this rate limiting window started, and we're just trying to access this key. And first time when we set this key, we set expiration to our bucket window. So at this point, our Redis key will be expired. It means that next request, let's say here, would create another request here. It will be the start, so it will create another key in the Redis, and the new key will be increasing the counter for the subsequent request up until that point. At that point, key will be expired. This request will not find any key, creates new key. And again, it will be using this key more and more. This is actually the pretty much good implementation of the rate limiting. So this is exactly what we're gonna do here. So, oh, please don't do it. So we have our rate limit per bucket. This is our window. For that, we need to pass configuration. Loading it from configuration. What is the name? Reader per bucket. This one. Now we need our allowed time window. Let's not now think about namings. Now we are creating our key. So since we are having our time unit as a second, we want all the requests within the same second go to same key. So our key is created by adding the caller ID, which is our user or IP address or whatever, and adding this specific second, unique second to the key. This will guarantee that it will be unique, and yeah. So our window key is actually the caller ID plus request time with this format. So we add year, we add months, we add day, we add hours, minutes, seconds, and that's it. In case we want rate limiting per minute, for example, we would just remove seconds here, and like our key would be based on the minute. And in the same minute, we're going to the same Redis key, but it is second right now, and we are good with this. Now we are trying to atomically pretty much increment. For this, Redis has string increment async. Yeah, let's use asynchronous operations. We don't want to lock our threads. We don't want them to wait for us. Now we are doing window key. This operation inside will create this key if it does not exist. If it exists, it will increment existing one. So if this key does not exist, this current count would be 1, because it will create one with 0 and increment it. If this window key exists, let's say with number 50, this will be 51. Good. Now, if current count equals 1, it means this is the new key. What we do, we just set the expiration for this key. So Redis DB, key expiry sync, not Redis DB, I'm sorry, just DB. So we set expiration for this key for the allow time windows, in our case for the next second. So next second this key will be leaving. After 1 second passed, this key done. Good. And then we're just checking if current count is more than rate limit per bucket. It means we don't have any more like this specific user or IP already exhausted the rate limit they had. We're throwing exception. With the message like rate limit exceeded, exactly. Otherwise, if it's not more than this number that we are allowing, it just go through and we allow this request. Now let's see, rate limit allow request. This rate limit implementation in our case will be our Redis implementation. Exactly. And let's do a benchmark of, or not benchmark, but let's run load test over it. So first of all, we want to rebuild completely our containers. Exactly. Second thing, we want, yes, request. We will be watching what is going on inside the Redis by that time. So we are going to the Redis container. It's a such only, right? Are you kidding me? Docker exec minus -8 sh exactly Redis CLI keys. No keys so far, right? You can see that database is pretty much empty. Now let's turn on our load test. This load test gonna create 300 at some point, 300 requests per second. Let's see how it performs. Okay. Do you know what is the problem here? The problem here is the port, because we have our port exposed to 500, so most probably, let's basically check it here. So localhost 500, Swagger, no, 880, No. Yes. So I see the problem. We didn't expose the port. Yes, and I know what is the problem here. So I will show you now. So we go to our program. There is this thing in the Docker that you have internal port inside your private Docker network and exposed port, external port. So the thing is that right now no port actually is exposed in our Docker. I can show you here. So for example, docker ps. Oh no, actually our rate limiter, it has 80 internal port and 5000 external port, but actually this 80 internal port is not properly exported at the moment. Why? It doesn't have expose instruction and it does not have any expose instruction in the code. So it means by following 500 it will not lead us anywhere. How to fix it? Pretty simple. We can just go to our program, and before use Swagger, I think here there is this hack or whatever you can call it. I think it can be done not only from the code, but this way you are telling your app that you're exposing the port 80, and now this 80 exposed port will be picked up in the Docker Compose, this guy, and it will be exposed to 500 external port. Unfortunately, we would need to do our Docker Compose app -- build. So these changes took effect. It rebuilds everything. Good. Yeah, nice. Now, if we check, it is exposed, but now should be legit exposed. Let's double check. How we double check it? Just go to Swagger. Exactly, here it is. Now it's properly exposed because it wasn't exposed internally before. Only external port was waiting for something, but it could not map to internal port 80. No. Docker exec -it. Now let's again connect to the Redis for the third time. I don't know. Sash, nice. This one we can close. And this CLI keys. This is how we're gonna check our Redis. Good. I think we are ready. This is our snap. Oh no, it's not working anymore. We need 5000. Yes. Our snapshot, let's check, it's completely empty. Let's start our load test. Okay, yellow test should be changed to this one. Okay, now it started, works as expected. Now you can see these are our keys. So the user 3 is our user, and this is the Unix time. It's second based, so it's for every second. Every key is specific second, and every key has basically actually it should be already expired, to be honest. I don't know why it's not expiring. Maybe because, yes, exactly, it's not expired because these settings didn't map to our real app settings JSON. So let's map it. Actually, we'll need to restart Docker again, but I'm not sure it. Yeah, it still worked, kinda. So since it could not map our Docker Compose settings from here, we used our app settings, which is 30. If we check the result in our emulated production service, we can see that it was never the case that we performed more than 30 operations. So our rate limiter works quite good with the 300 requests per second. Now, the only one question is why. If it's more rate limit, well, should still work. Okay. Now that we fixed this guy, still not sure why it didn't expire. Bucket time span, because it time span. Good. Now let's rebuild this guy. We're gonna put a bit more load. Good. Now let's put a bit more load. I would say let's do 1000. Maybe it will throttle even us. So 1000. I would actually open one more terminal just to Docker stats, so we can see our load on the Docker system completely. So I will put it here. Yes, that's what we need. So yeah, we are I need to 500, 1000, then 500 and 0. Let's be on 1000 requests per second for 15 seconds. Let's start. It started. This is our. As you can see now, for specific user, we have only one key at the second, because it expires the next second new key is created. As you can see, this is our CPU. It's actually quite hot, like 100% for the API. For the Redis, it's good. It's pretty good. Oh shit. Okay, I broke something. Yeah, for the Redis is good. Now you can see it decreased to 2 because we executed everything. So 100% rate, it means the service was able to accept all the network calls, which is good. Still, let's check our snapshot of the production service. Yeah, now the configuration was picked up. You can see what is going on here. So, no, this is JSON actually. So we can clearly see that our configuration 10 requests per second worked well, because production service also only reported not more than 10 requests. All others were throttled, these unsuccessful ones, which is good. Which is pretty good. It means it works under high concurrency environment. Pretty good. It does what it needs to be done. But there is still questions about the scaling, because you saw that, yeah, it was like 100 CPU. It was like almost 100% of CPU on the API. However, Redis was doing pretty much good, as you can see. So next time we're gonna scale this thing using still Docker Compose. Maybe we'll use some Kubernetes, I don't know. We will scale it. We will create a bunch of APIs. We would create load balancer. Most probably we'll use Nginx for this. And yeah, during the next stream, we will do this picture. So our load balancer will be accepting the request from our case 6. Most probably it will be simple round robin to our bunch of APIs. Each of these APIs would be going to Redis, checking whether for this second, for this user, it's allowed to request to be performed, and they will then propagate the request to production service. One thing that we will redo, since our production service emulated in the API itself is kinda in-memory emulation, we will have exactly the same problem, because our production service will be like per this instance, which will give us incorrect results. Whenever we would go to snapshot, we would go to load balancer. Load balancer would direct us to one of the APIs, and we will see only this batch of data, but we don't see these ones. Therefore, we will emulate our production service through the Redis as well. We will have our another key, like prot or whatever, and we will be counting for this key all successful and all unsuccessful results, and then we will be serializing them from the Redis. This way, yeah, it will be consistent and all the data will be just in the Redis. Yeah, that's pretty much it what we're gonna do the next. Now, it seems like, yeah, OP question is out of the scope because we are streaming too long already. I'm a bit tired. Yeah. We covered pretty much all the questions. We solved LeetCode questions. We created our system design continuation kind of with using Redis right now. I see 10 people are watching right now the stream, so 7 on YouTube, as I can see. And 1 person in the Twitch, which is actually frustrating a bit, but whatever it is. We have a question. Can I ask you, is it possible to get a job in FANG without big experience, and what the best way to get into your invitation? What about try to ask somebody in LinkedIn recommend you? Well, I think if you don't have experience, maybe you have university, then you can go for internship. I think if you're just university, you didn't have any proper working experience, commercial one, I mean, the best way is to go through the internship. After 1 or 2 internships, it's easy to get interview for the real job for either part-time or full-time. Actually, in our team, we now have 1 intern that is working part-time in parallel with the university, but it's not internship anymore. It's real job. He gets paid. He gets paid, and before that, he just passed 1 summer internship. So that's it. If you don't have university and you don't have any previous experience, bad news. It will be pretty much hard, but still, if you perform very well, no, I think actually it's not possible. You would need either university or real job experience, because mostly in software job positions that are published for Microsoft or whatever else, you need either 4 or 5 years of commercial experience or 4 or 5 years, like, so bachelor/master's degree, something like that. So most probably without any experience and uni, it's not possible. If you have uni, internship. If you don't have uni, go to real work, get this 4 or 5 years experience, prepare for LeetCode, prepare for system design, and go on interview. That's basically it. I don't see any more questions. I think we did a great job today. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope, for those who not, please feel free to leave your feedback. I'm totally okay with having feedback. And don't please forget to subscribe on my social media, Telegram, Instagram. We are doing polling about what we're gonna do about, like, in future streams/videos. We are also, I'm posting different stuff about lifestyle, some maybe internals from Microsoft, my job and stuff like that, so can be interested for you. Links in the description. Thank you so much again, and see you guys, I think, next stream. Thank you.